Welcome to the bunker.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Email shtf@topsbunker.com, website topsbunker.com. Please check the show notes in your podcast player for a link to help support the show. There you'll find valuable products and gear and extra info on this episode. Also, please visit and join Top's Bunker Facebook group. You'll love the interaction with other preppers and like-minded folks. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We got a great show for you. Tonight, Buddy and I are talking shop. We'll hear from a few listeners who sent us voice messages through Speakpipe and play a quasi round of Stump The Prepper with longtime listener and Top's Bunker podcast contributor, Casey Lambert. We'll also hear from Zach from Pennsylvania, who's got us thinking about motivation and spending budgets. As y'all know, Buddy has been booking the guests on the show, and he's got some great news about upcoming guests and a very busy schedule for the show this year. Jeremy's not with us tonight, but he'll be back soon, so I hope you enjoy this conversation between preppers. What is going on, man?
Just another day in the neighborhood.
Yeah, what's the neighborhood like?
It's kind of chilly.
Cold as fuck.
Yeah, got a little bit of chill in the air. It's basically, the world's going to shit. You noticed.
Yeah, let's talk about that for real quick.
Okay, yeah. Looks like there was a possible. I don't know. I'll say it was a attack on our communication systems. Just by looking at it yesterday, because there was a lot of things down. The big one, the one that's catching all the attention, is Verizon Communications. I've had a lot of people contact me, instant message, and this and that, wanting to know what can we do.
How long was it down for?
Pretty much the whole day. There's some places that it's come up and gone down again.
So is this your cell service? Is that what went down? Cell service?
Verizon cell service went down pretty much, mainly the South, the whole East Coast, it looked like. Now, I'm going by down detector and people in areas that were, reaching out to me. I've got a network of people. And, East Coast was down. Florida looked like it was down. Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania.
We used T-Mobile, and we didn't experience anything that we can tell. If it went down for a second or two, that may be something, but we didn't detect anything. Plus, we also have Starlink at the house, which is how we get our internet, and our phone is through that as well. Yeah, so I don't know if that matters.
Starlink was down for a little while. It's hard to keep it down because it's satellite. It goes down periodically, at least.
Okay, so would you say that stuff goes down? It's normal for it to happen every once in a while, and sort of quick problems.
There are times where stuff does go down. Normally, they'll take it down for a few minutes and then bring it back up. And usually people don't, and they do it. You got to look at the timing of it. At 3:00 in the morning, the timing. If something goes down between 3 and maybe 5,
right. Like, who knows? I mean, most people are sleeping.
So it doesn't affect as many people. It's when, at 3:00 in the afternoon, 9:00 in the morning and stuff, people really notice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday, I would say Central, Midwest, South, and East Coast was hit with the Verizon thing, and AT&T was down a little bit. I've had trouble with AT&T for about 3 or 4 days, and it's text messages. I mean. For some reason, I can't send a text. It'll just get caught up, and I have to switch between messaging systems and stuff to get it to go. So it's in the internet.
That's weird. Down. Doesn't the text doesn't it signal the same whether it's a text or a voice?
When you send a text, it'll you hit the button to send it, and it goes into a loop until it sends. And so mine will come back saying failure to send. And so I have to switch up the delivery method, and I won't get into the weeds of it because I don't really understand it. I just know there's two different delivery methods, and I just switch them
Sometimes
up.
I see SMS and sometimes I don't. I don't know what that
Yes,
means.
yes, and so I'll just switch it up and send it to the other one, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But
Yeah.
I've had trouble this whole week with stuff.
So did
Monday,
they know what
Tuesday.
do they know what it was that made it go down? You said
I
got hit. Was it hit by somebody or is it just a problem?
I personally think it was a nation state actor, possibly Iran. Could have been anybody because we have a long list of people who are pissed at us right now. Um, but a lot of that stuff. Why would Verizon take down their own system? You know what I mean? And like AT&T a few years ago, it was February 22nd, I believe, a couple years ago when AT&T went down and the whole nation was on its knees and nobody could talk to anybody and everybody started panicking and they said, "Oh, well, somebody fat fingered something." Come
Right.
on. Why would you let a intern go in and do programming or do anything like that? You know what I mean? So it's more than just a simple oops kind of thing. So
I've never dug into the whole entire I mean, I'm a visual person. So in my brain I'm envisioning a building. I mean, is that how it works or are we talking about multiple buildings all around the world that control with computers that control this stuff? I don't know how that works. I mean, if somebody wanted to take down say my thing T-Mobile, do they hit a building? Do they hit a computer? Do they have to hit a network, a line, an electrical line, a physical hardware type of situation? I mean, what are they hitting, you know?
yes and yes. I mean, you can take down a grid by hitting the right electric line. You could communication towers are different. You can hit one tower and take out a little section, or you can go and hit a program. You might hit the computer system that actually supports it all. Hit it with virus, hit it with this, hit it with that, and there's countermeasures out there, and we'll probably never know. And will they admit it? Who knows? But one of the things I saw today was they were going to give every customer that was affected by it $20 discount on their next bill.
They lose a lot of money.
Yeah, they lose a lot of money, but that they're taking some, I guess, responsibility for it. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do? We're in the business of preparedness, and so what is your plan? What is your pace plan for this thing? And we've preached it and preached it and preached it. We've had guys on here talking about how a little hamlet or village in East Tennessee was saved by the Bowfinger radio. So it's a real thing, and it's probably going to happen more now than it has in the past. So what is your plan to communicate with other people? And it might not be that you can communicate with them because they're across town outside of your Balfring radio range or your two-way communication system where you have set up. So you got to have other ways of contacting people, and Starlink is up there, and it's pretty reliable now. So you know, uh, satellite phones are very expensive, but there's other ways you can communicate with, like a Garmin, the Garmin Mini InReach or the Garmin InReach. Some of the Garmin products or the satellite communicating products that are out there that you can hook your phone up to Bluetooth wise and still use your phone. Your phone just won't transmit the message, but your phone is the carrier and the device that you type out your message on your Garmin.
You're saying it sends text.
Yeah, so you can text back and forth. So
Okay.
one of the things that, and I have not done it, I'm kind of not practicing what I preach, but they're kind of expensive. The Garmin Minis and the Garmin InReach and stuff. They're I'd like to get my daughter one in Pennsylvania. That way, as long as there's satellites up, as long as Starlink's up, and I will have that ability to
Okay, so
communicate with her.
this goes through your internet, which goes through a satellite, right?
It'll
Not
go
internet through your cell, internet through a satellite. Like I
your
have
blue.
internet through my satellite.
Yes, you can do it through your internet, or you can do it from your phone. I can be out in the middle of the wilderness with my phone and the Garmin, because the Garmin acts as a receiver from the satellite.
Okay, so it's almost like having a satellite phone in your hand for texting.
Yeah, you're just on text. You're not going to be able to voice communicate,
Okay,
but you can text on it.
that sounds really cool. What's the price on those? We talking thousands?
No, it's more like 300 and something dollars. But then you got to buy a plan. For the device, it's around $600, and there's a plan, and it's expensive, but it's a good peace of mind though.
What can you do with it without the cell phone? Like,
Without the
what are you
cell
getting?
phone,
What are you getting for the unit itself, the Garmin itself?
some of the Garmins have a little keypad on them where you can actually, and we're talking different Garmin devices, that you can actually type out stuff. They're more expensive. You're getting into the $600, $800, $1,200, $3,000 range. There's devices out there that aren't Garmin. I don't get paid by Garmin or anything, but I've used Garmin stuff all over the world, and I used to have, and I still have it somewhere. I just have not been able to find it, but it was a Garmin Rhino 130, and it's been all over the world with me, and it's a very good piece of equipment to have. Very reliable. Tracks 13, 15, 16 different satellites up there. So I would
What
always
does it do?
have.
Do you use it? Is it speak to talk, or is it just texting, or what?
I use it for GPS, for waypoints. Some of them have text features. I don't believe mine ever
Oh,
did, or at least I
GPS.
didn't
Okay,
use it.
okay, GPS. I
Yeah.
got it.
So, but the cool thing about it is I could have somebody like on my team, in a different sector or something, and we could talk. We could see each other through the Garmin. I knew exactly where they were. They knew where I was.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Yeah.
there was tracking involved too, and waypoints and things like that. So it's a good piece of kit to have. But going back to it, that's probably, for most people, that's probably the best piece of communication equipment, minus all the testing. If you could get some HF radios, some get a ham license and be able to talk that way, that's probably the best overall. But how many people want to actually take the time to study for that test? There's a learning curve to it. The Garmin's are low learning curve. You're basically paying for, not having to study, basically, and the technology is catching up with, eventually everything will be satellite type, you know, um, technology out there. So, but even iPhones are supposed to have satellite technology on them now too. So that's something to look into as well.
What about this mesh deal?
Mesh network. I just know enough about mesh network to know I don't know anything about it. I'm learning it. I have people, that know it well, and got some training coming up on it to set up mesh, Meshtastic and the mesh networks, and there's all kinds of stuff out there to
I heard
use.
Frank and them talking about it on their podcast at the very end, but I didn't understand I didn't know if this was a European thing or if it was a world, global thing.
It's across the world. One of the things that's pretty cool, that's easy enough to get set up and use, is called SDR. It's basically, put it in a nutshell. You take your computer, or I would prefer to use an older computer or something that I don't use daily, and you put in USB. It's called a dongle on it with a little antenna, and you're able to receive transmissions on it on your computer and look at stuff. You're not able to transmit. You're just able to uh, actually see things. So there's ways you can get reports, and there's networks out there that people put out intel reports every day, things of that nature. So you go on at 4 o'clock and you get the daily news, kind of like you get the back in the day you get the newspaper. So
But
there's
it's kind of like you're talking about the Meshtastic.
uh, the Meshtastic and the different mesh networks out there. They're
Oh,
able
there's
to
more than
communicate.
one. Okay. Well, the one
Yeah,
I
there's
heard on the Prepper Network podcast with Frank and them, they were talking about Meshtastic, I think.
Yeah, it's a
But
popular one to
isn't that
use.
like isn't that like a leapfrogging type of thing? It goes from one to another a unit to another unit, and just kind of almost like a repeater system.
Yeah, like I said, I know enough about it not to know I don't know a lot about it, and I think they do use that. I'm on a chat with them, and I see some of the them talking about it stuff, and it's great for people who know how to use it.
And if you have a network,
And if you have a network, and then if you don't, if you don't have all the equipment, something that you can actually see what they're talking about, they're passing information out. Um, Go to the check-ins they have. They might have a check-in at 7, in the evening on a
right,
Sunday
right.
evening. Go to the check-ins, make sure your equipment works, test it out.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stuff out there. And this is a pretty good segue into something I was wanting to talk about tonight a little bit. Is we've got a lot of special guests coming on, and I'll just leave it at that. I'm gonna tease it a little bit tonight.
No, don't leave it at that. Give a couple more teases.
Well, yeah. So stuff like the Meshtastic Mesh Network. I'm working on doing a lot of exciting partnerships with different places and people and things, and kind of behind the scenes working hard on getting special guests on here. Some guys that you might listen to on another podcast. Some subject matter experts that we haven't dealt with in the past. I'm definitely just thinking outside the box, staying within the prepper sphere, but yet we're kind of getting out there and talking about we're not going to talk about the bug out bag that often. We're not going to talk about this and that. I've got a lot of subject matter experts in gardening, uh, you know, cattle, whatever, animal husbandry, uh, a lot of communication stuff, some subject matter experts in the security world. I mean, we're getting out there and we're going to take it to the next level this year. So strap in and make sure you have a notebook with you for just about every different, all of our episodes, because you're going to need it.
So you're not going to name names.
No names yet. No, we're gonna
Okay.
have. We'll do some teasers, but I'm gonna say that we've got some pretty powerful people coming right out of the chute. You go to the rodeo, if you ever go to the PBR, you watch them ride bulls. They don't stick the worst bull out the first 2 or 3 bulls out there. They put their best ones out there, get the crowd into it. So we got some good guests. We got some spicy topics. We're still gonna keep going into not only the Prepper Homestead. We're gonna have some check-ins with some old guests, and but we're gonna get in, a little bit more into what's going on with the world and how to mitigate some of the things that are happening out there, happening to you, and how to navigate through them. So I'm excited. It's gonna be a wild ride for a while. Get out there and like the show, like the Facebook, do all the things you need to do and help promote it. Share it with your friends because we're going to get after it this year.
So we got a couple of Speakpipes. One is from Casey Lambert. You know he is.
Oh yeah, yep.
Been on the show, right?
Yes, he has. He may or may not be coming back really quick too. So we'll just tease that one.
What is up, Tops, Bunker, friends, and family? This is Casey down in Florida. Just want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I had a question for the show. I was curious if anybody has considered using video games with their mag groups or just friend groups that they, have in the prepper community to try to develop communication skills. I don't know. I just feel like it could be a good resource. See what you guys have to say about it. Anyhow, you guys have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Catch y'all later.
Wow, that's an interesting theory there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. As he was saying that, I was doing my visual thing in my brain, and I'm trying to think: was he talking about using video games where you play online with other people and you sort of communicate that way, or is he talking about doing like
a lot of
secret messages or something? I mean, what were we talking about here?
Like for instance, my kids, they play. They'll be in the same house, same separate sides of the house, and they'll have headphones on, playing the same game with friends, down the street, and friends, across the nation and stuff. But they're talking to each other the whole time. They found out that a lot of like Antifa uses a lot of those. There's different communication systems set up to where they communicate with each other. Terrorist groups have used this stuff before. Those different gaming communication systems would definitely be a clandestine way to talk to each other. I think that's what he was talking about.
I do online gaming, but it's all on my phone. So I'm playing with other people in the world on my phone. I'm not like, I don't have a headset on where I'm talking to them and all that. So I don't know how all that works. I would assume you would need, a good stable internet connection if you're wanting to communicate with somebody. I think what he's saying is, because he's like a rocket guy.
Yeah, I think he's a rocket science or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen pictures where he's in clean rooms and stuff. So what I'm thinking he's thinking is that if communications go down or like something, maybe you're able to get onto one of these gaming system platforms and talk to people that way, use it as a radio.
Yeah, and I remembered what that it's called Discord is what it's a chat, and there's a lot of these different chat chat platforms for gamers and stuff.
Yeah, but that's separate from the actual platform itself, isn't it? Like if you were to get on
Yes.
Xbox, you
Some
can
of
actually
them
talk
you
to
can-
people through Xbox.
The way I understand it, because I'm not a gamer, the way I understand it, some of them you can communicate through that, and then a lot of them will dial up on maybe Discord, a separate system.
Yeah.
We'll call it something similar to Signal. That's what a lot of people are.
Yeah, I can't stand Discord. I've had an account and it's so damn confusing to me. And a lot of the gamers I play with on my phone, they use Discord, and some of them, you join like different groups of people that you're, like right now I'm playing flying games. You join a squadron. Some of the squadrons out there will say must be on Discord to join us. And I'd
Yeah.
stay away from them because it just confuses the hell out of me. I think it's not a very easy platform to use.
Yeah, and I guess we just need to have him come on and elaborate a little bit more, but it's definitely usable. Terrorists use it. A lot of
Yeah.
a lot of the Antifa, different.
Well, I mean, think about this. Think if you get on a PlayStation or an Xbox in the United States and another one, let's say on an internet connected platform, let's say in Iran. I mean,
Yeah.
you could be sending signals in, secret code just by talking in the game.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean? Like you could activate cells of people in the US just from talking to them, and nobody would know the wiser.
And there's something called a one-time pad that generates a random number system that you couldn't do yourself that has no patterns in it, and you can give somebody the codes to that one-time pad, and they have them previously, and then you can send 11 means A, 135 means C, and you can spell out messages this way, and it's almost impossible to crack. So
Like an encryption decoder or something.
yeah, like the your honeycomb hideout
Mm-hmm.
codes or whatever. But yeah, one-time pads. Well, I've used them before. Military uses something similar and stuff. But
Are those digital?
no, it's actually a standalone. Like it looks kind of like it prints it out on paper or whatever, and it gives you numbers that mean something, and it won't generate. It's supposedly it is patternless. So you have a non-pattern, so somebody can't crack it.
Oh, I think Croc could probably figure it out.
But you can use your Baofeng, which is not end-to-end encrypted, and somebody's listening to you, put out a code out there, but they don't know, they can't solve it. So you're in the clear, pushing information in the clear, what they call in the clear, which is anybody can with the Baofeng can listen to you on that channel at that time of day or whatever, listen to your message, but they don't know what you're talking about. So. But yeah, the communication thing. We've preached about it.
And we will again.
And we definitely will again. And I got some people coming on to help with some alternative means to get information with the communication, and we're going to get some people on. It's hard to teach you how to take a radio and talk on it and hit the right buttons and program it online. On a podcast. It's virtually.
Oh, definitely not on a podcast. And you can do a video podcast where you can actually show people. It's still not user friendly, but you can talk about what you can do on them systems, how they're useful, what they're useful for, the different types of systems, the cost of systems, favorites and budget ones and expensive ones, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Who uses them? That kind of thing.
and even going on YouTube and watching people, do it. Some people can look at that and go, okay, I understand. Other people can't. I mean, we taught the Baofeng radio to a lot of people. And I would say 90% of people we taught were 60 or older. And the learning curve was terrible. Um,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of buttons on there. You look at this little radio and automatically you get intimidated by it. They're making them better and easier, but there's ways around a lot of that stuff. So what, if we will talk about communications and different ways of
I
communicating.
learned by doing, so I know exactly what you're talking about. When someone just says, "All right, see all these buttons here, press this." I went through a whole discussion with Jeremy, who's not here tonight, with him on the phone. I think we were on the phone for 45 minutes, an hour, going through my Baofeng and all the stuff, and I don't remember anything, not one single thing that we went over on the phone that day because I don't use it.
I was in a meeting earlier with our about our nonprofit. We got a nonprofit going, and I'll tell you more about that one day. And we were talking about communication and stuff, and I hadn't talked on a radio in maybe 10 years. And in the military, you had talk all the time. And I remember that first time I picked it up to talk on it, I was like, "Whoa, do I know how to do this?" But it's like anything else. It's a skill that is perishable, and you got to keep doing it. And,
That's right.
And what I was want to talk about mainly is go out there and find people in your area that can give you the training. I know guys on the East Coast. I know guys in the Midwest. I know guys on the West Coast that actually teach these skills. And it is pricey. They want money for their time, and they're subject matter experts. But I guarantee you, these guys will teach you how to use it. And by the time, might be 2 days of training, might be 1 day of training, 3 days training. By the end of the training, you're going to know that thing inside and out. Then you're going to be able to use it, and you're going to be able to teach, your family members or whoever. Training's a key to a lot of stuff. And I'll be preaching that all this whole year because this is the year of training for me. I'm bringing on trainers. I'm bringing on guys who have, teaching skills, and teaching,
Right.
Things you wouldn't think about. And they teach this stuff, and we're stepping into a thinking man's game, man or woman. Probably heard me say before, you got to think your way out of a lot of these problems.
So I got another Speakpipe, and this is just from Anonymous. Remember I told you that when you go on Speakpipe, you can choose to be anonymous or not. So we have no idea who this is coming from. I've not heard it yet. It's the first time I'm going to click the button. Let's see what it says.
Good morning, bunker friends. Zach from Pennsylvania. Just listened to 226, and one of my shortcomings and plans for the year is to get a little bit more financially stable and start building my preps up. Kind of fell off the bandwagon for a little while and kind of became a slave to my job. So, failing economy, I fell behind. Time to jump back on it and get to it. Tips, tricks, or suggestions, please throw them out there.
Yeah, and I think it's something what he talked about was kind of what's happening out there with a lot of people. So what we talked about, I guess, on the last episode, it was like it's time to put your foot on the gas and not the brake. A lot of people got comfortable with, oh, we got our guy in office, everything's going to be great. I'm not going to have to pay my mortgage again or my car payment. Everything's going to be free. Everything. There's going to be puppies and sunflowers and it's just going to be great. But I think we're all kind of, after a year of him being in office, we're seeing a little bit of things are getting a little better, but it's not going to be perfect. And then coming up in 4 years, bam, we might be there right back where we were with everything overnight changing. So
yeah, so he said he kind of fell off the bandwagon and tips, tricks, that kind of thing. I think we've been talking about that sort of on the past couple of episodes.
Yeah, prepper fatigue.
Prepper fatigue, exactly. And we all have it, we all get it. And if you don't have it, you will get it. That's just how it goes.
Well,
I say start small. Start with one thing.
Yes.
And then it should prompt you. Someone told me a long time ago, I was having trouble. I was a big gym person, and I stopped going. And I wasn't terribly unfit at the time, but I could feel myself getting unfit. And somebody said, there was a gymmer came to me and said, hey, he said, all you have to do is just do that one thing, just get in there, get inside the door is your first step. Wake yourself up, do whatever you have to do, smack yourself in the ass, whatever you got to do, get inside the door, walk into the door. You don't even have to work out. If you just walk into the door, something is going to change. Something's going to happen. And he's right. You can use that analogy for anything out there.
Yeah,
having trouble writing a book, just type the first sentence. That's it. And see what happens.
Yeah. And the good news is it's never too late. You can pick up where you left off, but I would say if I give him any advice, do an inventory of what you have right now, where you dropped off, what your inventory is now, and then sit back.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, inventory what you have, and then sit back and think, okay, I haven't prepped for 3 years, or I haven't prepped for a year. What's changed? Has anything changed? Is the environment changed? Is there better stuff, out there now that's more techy, or, better, whatever it might be. There might be better kit now that's cheaper and lighter, but look at what you have, inventory it, look what you have, and then think of what's changed, and then come up with a plan. What's my plan for getting back into the game, and then set goals, okay, so I haven't prepped for a year, or a couple of years, or whatever it may be. I'm going to start again, like you said, take that first step. So he said he had, a little bit of money to put into it or whatever. So, work within your means. We've preached about that too. You don't have to go out there and buy, $1,000 food store or water storage containers. Maybe you can find something alternative. Go on Facebook Marketplace and look for, food grade, 55-gallon drums, and use tap water and put a little chlorine in it, and make it to where it's storable and purified a little bit, and then go from there. Eat that whole elephant in small chunks. But definitely start, and that's what everybody kind of with the prepper fatigue, and people start prepping. I've heard it many times. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to get. Well, get something, and then start from there. If you need to start with just a bug out bag, what do you have available right there? What's do you have a bag you can use as a bug out bag? Okay, so next thing, buy some cheap waterproof matches, or buy matches. Go, dollar store has a lot of stuff cheap. We've done those challenges before. Give you $60 to go to a dollar store and see what what you can come out with for a bug out bag. I mean, you'd be surprised. So
yeah, and from what I understand, 2026 is going to be a much different landscape here in the United States. I don't know about our listeners around the world, but here in the United States, they're talking about possibly incomes going up, taxes going down, which they're pretty sure about, and tax returns going up as well. The price of things are coming down. Gas is already starting to come down. That's your first thing. In order for have anything out there that you can buy, price come down, you've got to get the gas down first. The fuel is everything. If the fuel is high, it costs money to ship or make or produce or whatever. All the products that you go get in the stores, those products are going to go up. When the gas comes down, the products start coming down.
Yeah,
and I really believe in my elected officials that I've elected into office, and I believe what they're saying. And I think 2026 is going to be the year. This is going to be the year where you might have a couple extra bucks in your pocket. You might get a big tax return this year. You might get a stimulus check this year. If you do, and if you get $1,000 stimulus check, you now have your 6-month supply of food. Or you can spend that $1,000 on a gun and some equipment, or you can spend $1,000 on a bag and tons and tons and tons of shit to put in the bag. Or you can take that $1,000, you could buy storable food, any one of the ones we've always talked about, and you could buy a 6 months worth of storable food for $1,000, and you're done. That's it. You got your food done, checked off the list.
Yeah, I'd like
Is it great? Is it great food? No. Is it delicious? Nope. Is it going to be something you're excited to eat? Nope. But you're going to live.
Yeah, that's very true.
You're going to live.
I think I'll use that $1,000 for just spices for that shitty food.
Yeah, and drink packs. A lot of those too.
Yeah.
Because
But
water sucks in the apocalypse, man. Water sucks.
yes. Well, I would like to put out a Speakpipe challenge. If you have $1,000 to use and you want to buy prepper stuff, what are you going to buy?
It's a reality right now in the U.S. because a lot of people who are working and paying taxes in 2025 are going to be doing their taxes right now. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to start getting your W-2s, all the stuff in, and you're going to be doing those taxes. And you might have a return, and they're saying that the returns this year are going to be very high. Trump's saying it, so we'll see. If it is, what are you going to spend that money on?
Yeah, if you have debt, the best way to me, prepping with food and water and bug out bags and ammo and guns and stuff is only part of the equation. The other part of the equation is, you need to be financially prepped too. Going out and getting a bunch of debt is not really the way to go, because you're going to have to pay.
That's a really good point. You're talking about getting out of debt as a prep.
Get out of debt as a prep, because then you don't have those chains on you. You're not, you go out and borrow $1,000, from the bank to go buy the latest, machine gun or whatever pistol that, that looks pretty cool at the range. And everybody's like, oh, you got that, but what is it really getting for you? You know what I mean? Being out of debt is, you have the financial freedom to go out and do things. And that's, they say that it's a buzzword, financial freedom, but you do. It's freedom to do other things with your money instead of paying back, the interest and paying back the bank. Take that money and go buy silver, which is very high right now. Go buy some gold. I'm not a big crypto guy, but I know a guy that is, probably might have to bring him on the show and let him talk about crypto, and he'll convince everybody to go buy crypto.
Not me, but okay.
I have to have something in hand. If I'm buying silver or gold, I want to have it in hand.
It's a real possibility for everybody right now this year in the United States. You have the possibility of a chance of paying off some of that debt. The thing is, I remember when I was working before, for the man, making very, very good money. I remember at least $1,000 out of each one of my paychecks was going to bills. Now, can you imagine if you pay off those bills, which I have now? Can you imagine that? That's $1,000 a paycheck, and I was getting paid every 2 weeks. That's $2,000 a month you can do something with. To me, $2,000 a month is a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now, maybe there's some people out there like, $2,000 ain't shit. No, $2,000's a lot. $2,000's a new gun, a new really nice gun. Two guns if you want. Hell, 4 guns if you want.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Pay off your bills, and imagine putting that money in your bank account rather than going to interest.
Yeah. In 2024 was a different year for me. I seemed like I had a little extra cash in hand in my pocket, so I could do a few things that I couldn't do in 2025. 2025 was, gas prices went up, food prices went up. To me, 2025 was like
a shit show, man. I couldn't afford anything in 2025.
No, and my dietary, I would say I'm fixed income because I'm retired somewhat, and so that paycheck hasn't really changed. My income and all the other incomes I have haven't changed at all. But the dollar didn't go as far as it went, the year before and the year before that. And it just seems like it kept getting worse. It seems like with the gasoline, and when you go to budget, some people don't budget, but when I go to budget, I know, okay, I need this much for gasoline. Well, that's a high priority for me. It's kind of like your prepper, looking at your preps, you prioritize them and set goals and stuff. But gasoline, I need to get to and from to do things, so that's a high priority. And then, it's less priority, am I buying, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out potato chips. Well, I can't afford potato chips now, so I'm just going to bypass those. And, you know, if for something that if I get snacky, I'm just going to, you know, get a little snack attack later night. Maybe I'm going to eat some bread and peanut butter. You know what I mean? But that's the way, if I could put it into, you know, paraphrase 2025, that was, you know, the nighttime snack that, you know, wasn't a nice snack. You know what I mean? You know, cookies and this and that. It was, because I didn't have the money for it. And,
Oh yeah, for
got
sure.
a little skinnier too. So
And I know
that
what you
was,
mean by the old peanut butter snack when you get that Jones thing happening, you're like, you need something really sweet. You know what I do? I grab a big old spoon and I grab a big old thing of peanut butter and I close the lid and put it back in there. And then I take another spoon and I open up the little jelly jar and I scoop a little bit of jelly and I put it right on top of that little thing of peanut butter. And I eat the little top off it. And then what do I have? I have a smaller but still delicious spoonful of peanut butter. What do I need to put on that peanut butter? Another little scoop of jelly. Put it right up on top of there.
yeah.
I make myself a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich on 2 spoons, and I feel awesome.
See, I would just use one.
Well, I have other people that eat out of the bucket, so I don't want to double dip in it.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I have that luxury in my house. So, but anyhow, yeah. So, 2025, you know, it's in the books now. 2026 with the gasoline, and I got probably the cheapest gas in the United States where I live. So, it's been nice.
Oh yeah, I mean, Rhonda said when she was driving back from Texas, she got gas in Oklahoma at like under $2. Man, it
Yeah,
was like $1.90 something or whatever.
yeah, you fill up in Oklahoma if you're coming through.
It was
That's
pretty
what you
nice.
do.
Yep.
And when I'm leaving the state, I always make sure I top off before I leave the border.
Because we're
And I've
seeing
seen,
about like 213, 210, 213 right here, right now. That's still really good. Really, really
yeah, I've
good.
seen as low as 187.
Nice.
But you know that it is what it is. I'm not really paying attention either. You know, I gotta buy it, so it's like, yeah, here it comes. But yeah, so 2026 should be. I've already seen a little bit of relief in just you know, we're 15 days in at this point. You know, at the time of this recording, so you know we're getting a little bit of relief. Hopefully, the food goes down. I will say that I've done some research on beef prices because I live in cattle country and I do follow beef for some customer. I call them customers. Some people that you know want me to track it, and so the this the beef in Oklahoma right now. The herds have been decimated in the last 5-6 years because droughts and the economy, and they had the war on the beef cattle because they fart, and we can't have the farting cows out there killing the ozone layer and green and all this other shit. So, but the herds are now starting to grow back. They've gotten bigger. Prices of beef are starting to go down. So hopefully you start to see that kind of thing in the next month or two at your grocery stores.
Is it significant?
It's starting to go down. The herds are getting bigger. The calves prices are going down on the calves, the steers. You know, they're saying that herds are starting to grow again. We had some pretty good 2 years of good, you know, trying to pull us out of the drought. So we've had a lot of rain and stuff. So grass is growing and people are starting to farm again. Some of the cost of farming has gone down. Hopefully they get the farmers some subsidies and get them back on track. It'll be good. I mean, I've already seen, you know, grass-fed beef from local producers out here that sell off the farm. You know, $10 a pound. That's a lot, but it's grass-fed. You know where it's coming from. It's all grass-fed.
Wow,
And
$10 a pound.
it's gone down to 8 now for most of them. Some of them
You're
have
talking
stayed
like
up
what?
there
You're
around
talking
10.
like $20, $25 a steak?
Some of it's up there.
Mm.
But you know, and steak prices, yeah, there's steak prices way up there.
I don't mind paying some really good money for a steak because we don't eat it every night. So, you know, if I'm going to have it once or twice a year, it's expensive. It happens, you know, it just is what it is.
Well, and I pulled the trigger for Christmas as a gift to where I'm buying from a local, it's within like 2.5 miles of me. It's a
Nice.
local producer and they've been around since, you know, homesteading days. And I'm buying a beef box from them. So every month I get, you know, different, you know, ground beef, I get steak, or something's in there. So, and
Is that something
it's
that they ship out, or they ship to people, or you just go pick it up?
I go pick it up. I'm close. It's just right down the street. I could probably,
But do they ship them out,
they do. They'll
or is
also
it just
deliver
for
locally.
local people?
No, they ship out. I don't know, how. I don't know that process because I haven't looked into it. But yeah, a lot of them do. One of the ones I'd like to, if I ever have that extra cash, you give me that $1,000 stimulus, I might go do this, pull the trigger on it. But there's a bison farm I saw a few months ago in the state, but it's out towards the Texas Panhandle, and they actually come to Oklahoma City to a farmer's market every month, or they come to a
Wow.
certain location and they sell the ground bison or bison steaks and stuff. So
I've had bison. It's
very,
good, man.
yeah, I love a bison burger, man. But
Mm-mm.
high in protein, it's low in fat. It's
Lean, yeah.
delicious. Yeah. But I guess what I'm getting at with all this is, it's looking, a little better on the food end of everything. And I'm working out now, as part of my New Year's, I hate to call it resolution, but my New Year's change of routine, get out there and work out. Been pretty tenacious with it, trying to make sure I eat better, take some supplements that, help my old manness going,
Mm-hmm.
got my Geritol, got drink a lot of water, and got some creatine, some
Weren't you
protein
doing
powder.
the mushroom coffee or mushroom something? Weren't you doing mushroom something?
Yeah, I still do some mushroom coffee. I won't name the brand, but
Does your gut feel better? It's supposed to be like a gut thing, right?
yeah, it's helping me clear up. And I didn't do it today, so I'm kind of foggy. But it helps my brain function, helps gut health. There's a lot of different things it does help with. The biggest thing I noticed was it kind of helped, just my gut. I mean, I used to kind of have like I'll call it pot belly or whatever, but it was like bloating. And so it's kind of taking care of the bloating. I've had some TBI, traumatic brain injury. Um, it's helped me get a little clearer and think a little
Mm-hmm.
clearer. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I still get, jumbled up on my words, which everybody knows, but, we have the buddy moments there for a minute, but they're getting, it's getting better. And, as long as I, take it on a regular basis, we don't have the problems. There's, sometimes I've traveled and didn't take it with me. And, I noticed by the end of the traveling, a week later, some come back and I'm back to where I started. But, you know, it does help out. I suggest, functional mushrooms to look into it if you have any kind of brain
Functional
fog.
mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Everything
you're
is,
talking about not the kind of mushrooms that make you dizzy, so to speak.
yeah. If you see, I don't do the ones you see purple, elephants
Yeah.
and shit, but it's over the counter stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Reishi, turkey tail, gosh dang. Yeah. Now I can't think after I'm bragging on myself taking these mushrooms and I can't think, but, yeah, it's kind of pricey. I look at it now as something as like almost like a medicine for me, so instead of having to take all the other medicines, I'm not gonna get into personal, getting too personal here, but, I was on a lot of stuff for a while now. I've learned a little bit about functional medicine, and the functional is the key word, the buzzword out there right now. You got a functional medicine doctors, functional fitness, you got functional this, functional that, um, functional mushrooms, and learning. I've educated myself on a lot of these things where I'm feeling better, sleeping better, you know, less foggy, and life's just changed a little bit for me. So
I am taking the Mars Men. I'm on my fifth or sixth week now. I think it's fifth. It's supposedly within your third month of taking it, you're that's when you really start to see most of it. But your first month, you'll start to feel the brain fog go away, and I can attest to that. Now, I'm not saying it's a massive change, but I can definitely feel of the 30 days. I can definitely feel the brain fog go disappear. And, especially like I still get my late afternoon tired's. That still happens, but that slowly this should help. Now I did do some deep dives and some AI searches and all this on Mars Men. And I'm sure everybody's seen Mars Men on the commercials and this and that. They say that there's no actual science saying that it actually does anything for you, but the ingredients in them, which are Tuncadally, I think that's how you pronounce it, zinc,
Tonkinelli,
Tuncadally, yeah,
yeah,
good stuff. Yeah, there's zinc, K1 and K2, fenugreek, which I'm not sure what it is. I think this next one's a mushroom. It's called shilajit. I think. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Not
I'm
sure
just
what
now
that
learning
is,
about that, but it's some good stuff too.
Taurine, vitamin D,
Mm-hmm.
and boron. And I take 5 pills a day at the same time, right at breakfast with a meal. I just take them with orange juice in the morning. And I've been doing that now. And I think it's like $50 a month is what I'm paying for it. And I'm on a program where they automatically ship and you automatically pay. And I'm going to do the full 90 days that they're asking for. They're saying, this is what happens in 30 days. This is what happens in 60. And this is what happens by your 90 days. So I'm going to give it the whole test all the way through. I think it's worth the money. So I'm doing that. And I just ordered and it should be coming in, I think tomorrow or Saturday. Monday, sorry. Tomorrow or Monday it should be coming in. It's aged garlic extract, which is supposed to be really, really good for your blood pressure, your circulatory system, all of that. So got that coming in. And I'm going to start taking that as well. I've heard people, because I take blood pressure medicine for hypertension. And I've heard people just not having to take any more blood pressure medicine because this stuff just works. So I'm hoping for that. But even if it just helps a little, that's awesome.
Yeah. Let's see. I had something there and now I'm gone. I'm having a buddy moment. There's a lot of things out there that I'm educating myself on as well and trying to do. I take something, I don't want to go too far into it, but it's a natural supplement that,
a lot of this is homeopathic.
Yes. And there's another thing. I'll speak on it after I've taken it for a little while, but I've already noticed within a couple weeks of taking this, it's like, whoa, as far as energy goes and I think it's helping with cortisol levels and
I
things
need
like that.
some work on cortisol. I need that big time.
Yeah, and I'm learning about that. But we have a couple guests that I'm bringing on, to transition a little bit that already are studying this and work in this area. So maybe they'll shed some light. And I know what we're talking about. There's people out there going, what the hell are they talking about? This is a prepper show, but there's other people out there going, damn,
health is part of your preps, man. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, exactly. And part of my goals this year is I want to carry that 100-pound rucksack full of shit that, that
I'm already carrying a 100-pound rucksack and I'm not carrying anything in my hands.
Exactly.
I need to get rid of it.
When I go to work out, 4 of the 5 days we're in the gym and people are looking at us like we're crazy. Now they're getting used to it. We're wearing plate carriers. We don't have our ammo and all that stuff in there. Just stripped down plate carriers, a lot of, patches in there. And we're doing functional fitness type stuff. We're doing CrossFit. We're doing things with these plate carriers on. And, people are, I've noticed a couple people's bringing theirs now, but I've been doing it for a couple of weeks now to where one day we didn't work out with it on. And I was like, damn, should we put our plate carriers on? Because, doing a burpee with a plate carrier on compared to not doing it with plate carrier on, it's tremendous. You've got, 10, 15 pounds of extra weight on you.
It's night and day.
Yeah.
Well, each one of those plates are running what, like 7, 8 pounds, 10 pounds?
It depends on the plate. I have training plates that I got 15 extra pounds on me. And I guess it's a little heavier than the normal, stuff. But you know what? I'm wearing it and, and you might not go to the gym with it, but, walk your dog around the neighborhood, take the dog out for a walk or go for a hike in the woods.
Or start small, put ankle and wrist weights. I mean, start
ankle,
small.
Wrist. Yeah. I used to run with back in the day with the wrist, wrist weights and ankle weights and stuff,
It adds a lot, but you think it's not heavy. It adds a lot to your workout.
Dude, go run 2 miles. I was, got to where I was running 2 miles and running pretty quick, and then threw those on one day, and it's like, crap, half mile into it, man, I'm done. But, but that was a big goal this year for me, is to get physically fit again and work on my health, because, you only got one body. And I just had a sneaky feeling I'm going to need it real quick. I want to be able to, if I need to jump a fence, I'm going to jump a fence, climb a wall, climb a rope, do the things.
You're right. And it's our younger listeners, which we do have, that are listening, that are glazing over right now. They're not listening because they're young and they don't get it. And when I was 20s and 30s and even 40, when I was in very, very good shape and going to the gym twice a day, 5 days a week, 2 days, I didn't think that, I wasn't feeling the age yet. But when I hit the 50 mark, and we have a lot of listeners that are in the upper 40s, 50s, and even 60s as well, and they know exactly what the fuck we're talking about. You start losing it, man. It happens fast.
I'm throwing the gauntlet down now. Some of our younger listeners, they didn't grow up like we did. I looked at my dad at 70 years old, and he could work my ass in the ground, and I was still in the damn army. I'm like really good shape, and he could go out and work with him on a weekend out, with the horses and doing fence.
My grandfather was still working a tractor in his 90s, man. Come on.
And but that's the kind of the functional strength that I want. I want to be, they call it cock strong or whatever, just be that farm strong guy, corn fed. But that's the things that you'll need when it comes down to, a shit hits the fan situation. It's going to amount to, because it's going to suck. It's going to be hot. It's going to be cold. The environment's not going to be what you're used to. And you need to be able to survive it. And another thing is you need to start conditioning yourself and going out there and putting yourself in a situation to where it sucks, where you're not used to a situation. Maybe it's a cold day, go out for a walk and don't put on, 15 layers of clothes and your big warm jacket. Go out there and get a little bit uncomfortable, get out of your comfort zone as much as you can, because you possibly, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope I'm lying. I hope I'm a fear, horning everybody here, but you're going to be in a situation where it's going to suck, and you're going to be used to it suck, and you're going to either, rise to the occasion with your training that you get, or you're going to, crumble like, milk toast, or, and it's just going to be a bad day for you. So,
my prepper brothers and sisters, prepping and survival, homesteading, self-reliance, foraging and bushcraft, homeopathy, bugging in and out, urban preparedness, and even gray man theory. These are not just terms thrown around from one prepper survivalist to another. No, these are mindsets and skills. They're life-changing, actionable goals that get us from point A, slave to the system, to point B, awake, alive, and ready, and to point C, confident, hardened leaders of our existence in this ever-changing world that we occupy. This coming year will be a journey, and we'll take it with you every step of the way. Stay prepped, stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.